I like the tight linear, and then just an explosion of openness. It looks like our runners just got this kicked off here. Oh, and Sho forgot to hold down, so he's going to lose a little bit of time here.
Oh no, that's 15 seconds. So we've got the Orb of Wind at the Apprentice. That's in addition to 100 gold that Dragondarch is going to spend on Warp Boots.
All right, so off the gate, we got Sword of Thunder. So it is going to warp them to the far side of the world here. So they may check the shops. Getting a magic ring, they're not doing a whole lot. They are going to have to head to the east side of the world here, using this wonderful access that was put into the randomizer.
So that sword is guaranteed by this flag set. You know, in more difficult flag sets, the sword can be hidden for a few more checks. You may even have to sort of go in a cave and dodge some enemies for a little bit until you can actually find that first sword.
Good question from Crossproduct here in chat. Do they need Warp Boots to get back to Chiron? Currently, yes. They will definitely need to use Warp Boots to warp themselves back to Chiron, or teleports to get there, unless they can get through any other way using flight as well as change to get them to the other side of the world. But otherwise, yeah, they'll have to use Warp Boots to get around that. And speaking of flight... You wanted that
That's
early open-endedness, and
big,
we're
yeah.
going to get it.
So at this time, we say it's open-ended, but really, flight, until we get a couple more items, it's not going to open up that much.
Oh, it opens up more than you think, so... Cross literally just asked this, and they're actually going to have to go back to the other side of the world here with the flight spell. They'll be able to get 2 checks on Mount Hydra, not needing anything to get there. They'll just have to use flight to jump over the little gaps here. They also have access to a couple items in the Oasis Cave. So definitely should see a Sword of Wind here fairly soon. Shield Ring. Good pickup early, just to stop projectile damage. Looks like Dragondarch is only opting to get the first item here, and then he's going to dip out. Curious as to why he didn't go for the second one so early.
So there's, you know, I guess if you ask me, the reason is because you've got flight. And with flight, you've got a lot more items you can get. You can get a whole bunch of items. So there's 3 items you can get in the Oasis Cave, and then you can get 5 more in the back of Goa, even without having to beat Carmine or any other bosses. Plus, you've got the Dragon 1 fight, which it looks like that's what Dragondarch's going to go for first. So, you know, that one check a little further into Mount Hydra, you know, it could be big, but it's a pretty big gamble at this point.
I do like the Dragon play here. I know for a fact Matrick likes this play. Anytime Dragon's open to him at that moment, and it's a pretty good option to route in, he's going to do it. So definitely happy to see this here. Going to get 2 checks immediately. We're going to get 1 in the chest at the back. We're going to get 1 off the Dragon 1 fight itself, and then we're going to get another item given to us afterwards. Sho did opt to check the second chest here on Hydra, so let's see if this pays out. It is a Lysis plant, so not paying out. Meanwhile, Dragondarch does find an Opal statue, so if he does die for any reason, he is going to get healed back to full life and get a decent amount of iframes to utilize in a fight, so that can definitely help later.
The biggest divergence right now is Sho picking up a pretty big wad of cash and experience, getting up to level 3, while Dragondarch not killing really anything, staying on level 1, and having to fight Dragon level 1 at level 1.
But he is handling this fight very well. He's not been hit yet. He's definitely getting a lot of damage in, and down goes Dragon. Very well executed fight, and we're picking up telepathy right out the gate here, as well as a magic ring. So telepathy can open up a decent number of checks. Is also one part of a requirement to open up Saber North as a possible location as well. So there's definitely some interesting routing options that are going to come into play later, especially if they pick up the gas mask. That'll open up some more checks in Oak.
And it looks like Dragondar's going for the other location with a lot of items at this early back area, which is the back of Goa Fortress. This back floor has... so first of all, we get the Oasis Cave. There's 3 items here. There's another item on the other side of the river that we can get with flight. Oh, and the Sword of Water.
Definitely opens up Rage to be in logic here. I do like that Dragondarch did make another checkpoint after finding the sword. So that way if he doesn't like what he finds here, he can reset out of that. So very good play by Sho picking up his sword now.
This is interesting routing. To pick up that sword first, and then go for this chest, which is the Crystalis plant, which he's probably not going to reset.
Yeah, I actually very much like the movement here from Dragondarch. It is very interesting, and that is our first Mimic. Our runners can kill that. It looks like Dragondarch is opting to kill that because he hasn't killed anything yet, and he's going to get rewarded with 170 bucks there. A really good chunk of cash for that Mimic. Sho's doing the normal route that we see a lot of our runners do, which is down, up, and then over to the right, getting that Crystalis plant there. So going to make their way back around here and up. They'll be able to get the last chest available here by flying over the water. And that's Mimic number 2. The only reason we track these Mimics is because I am so fascinated by these wonderful creatures. There are 12 of them in the game, and we have a joke category currently, which is Mimic %. So that is definitely something we could see happen.
Our last race was over 99%, or over 90% on the Mimic %. We had 11 out of the 12 Mimics.
Fun fact, we saw 11. We did actually get full information, knowing where the 12th one was. Very happy about that. On Dragondarch's screen here, you'll see Kensu the Slime. He was turned into a Nooper there, and he can only be cured with the Ivory Statue. There's the Sword of Wind. So with that ball that we found earlier, that opens up a ton of locations. Let's just think here for a minute. And not just the
ball, but also with flight, that brings us to Evil Island. It brings us to the Fog Lamp Cave and the Crystalis Plant Cave, which is a whole lot of checks that these runners will have that could have their next item. And there's another one.
So we were talking about how telepathy put a couple things in logic, but yeah, the key to prison definitely says that Saber North is an option then for sure, because they can enter that backwards from Portoa there if they get the Sword of Fire and the Orb to get through the wall. But both of our runners do find the Bow of Moon here. They also do have the Shield Ring. So I'm curious, Sho did Wild Warp out. Looks like he's going to follow the Sword of Water sequence here. And then also be able to turn that out. Meanwhile, Dragondarch showing off his flying skills, not taking a single hit here, going right up to Carmine. This is technically considered a sequence break, but we know that just tells him if he does get something here that's important, that he'll need barrier for it. Meanwhile, Sho checking Rage here, since he got that Sword of Water, finding the second Opal, which is a very good find.
And Dragondarch showing us another unforeseen strat by jumping and stabbing above Carmine there. That was a very interesting strategy there.
Yeah, so your hitbox moves with you when you jump, and you can actually jump up on the wall, and it'll put your hitbox outside of where Carmine can cast anything it hits you with. Unfortunately, finding an antidote and a fog lamp means that Dragondarch, while showing us an amazing trick, isn't really getting anything other than scaling out of that, since we already have flight.
And his Wild Warp here preserves that scaling hit while not really getting any... I guess he didn't checkpoint there, so... Well, I guess he could have checkpointed and, you know, gotten rid of Carmine, but still, it's only one scaling. It shouldn't make a big difference.
No, not at all. And since he hasn't killed anything yet either, that's actually just going to help him accelerate in levels. I'd say in about the next 10 minutes or so, he's just going to explode up. So that'll be super exciting here. He did just finish checking his rage sequence and got his answering machine. And while that happened, Sho actually took a dip here into Carissa Plant Cave. Did find eyeglasses. Not useful by themselves. They do open up the lighthouse over on Evil Spirit Island. But you need the alarm flute, which is also randomly placed into the chests to be able to get that check. So you got one part of the equation for a couple of locations here. Dragondarch is making his way back, since he did check the answering machine for Messia there. He's going to be able to get some items here. Antidote and an ivory statue is what is on the Angry Sea. So if you calm that, you're going to get... and he's actually resetting to make sure he read that. Yep. So ivory statue there is definitely what to know.
That's good information to have. And this is good routing for Sho. The getting to the Carissa Plant Cave right after doing that the recording there is really good routing, because that's the closest point to the Carissa Plant Cave itself. Otherwise, you'd have to go to Portoa, which is a little further out of the way. Dragondarch now going back through Portoa. I'm a little curious what this is. This is sort of abnormal.
Fog lamp. No, this is a fog lamp play right here. Guarantee it. So Sho went up, got his checks as well. The big thing that Sho did, because of all of his early kills and early money, he actually stocked up on warp boots in Goa. They were 73 a pop. And that was one of the cheaper warp boot options at the time. So he had a full inventory of warp boots and medical herbs going in. So this is definitely... he's going to have a little bit more mobility in terms of getting around to towns right now than Dragondarch, but I believe he has at least 2 pairs of warp boots.
And just like you said, Dragondarch getting those extra levels really fast.
Yep, it's all about the scaling curve, and there's the windmill key. Definitely a great find there, as since we've got the orb, we're going to be able to full clear that and get access to Bryn Mawr, which is also going to get us, eventually, if we get the teleport spell, the front of access there to Saber North.
And that's 7 items too, just in Windmill Cave, including the item in the front and all the chests. So quite a few items.
We're getting a lot of good density checks out of the way too, and I really like the divergence here between Sho and Dragondarch, getting to show off all the different places we can go. Sho heading over to Evil Spirit Island is in logic. We're going to have a lot of stuff in here to get. We're going to get 4 chests in the cave sequence, as well as 3 checks, technically, up in the tower itself. Now, Sabera in there is only vulnerable to fire, and fire we currently don't possess. So we may be seeing a tank strategy. I don't know if Sho's going to go for it, though.
So earlier you mentioned Dragondarch is a long-time vanilla speedrun record holder. And, you know, in the vanilla run, one of the main differences is that we don't have this sword switch key combo where you hit select and B and switch your sword. And I noticed Dragondarch hasn't been using that. He's been going to his menu to switch his swords. That's it's not a big time sink, maybe just a second or so, but it's something that he could be saving time on.
It's definitely something that over the course of the run he may lose out in theory. It is approximately, like you said, 1 second per menu. But it is worth noting that he's been playing this game for how long? As the vanilla speedrun, and that's all embedded into muscle memory. So it's not that he's even consciously thinking about it. He's just executing. This is all just execution at this point that he's going through.
That's right. I should point out, Dragondarch, he has so he had a sub-hour any percent no wild warp speed run before the last really big skip was found, and that now the world record is now something like it's under 56 minutes, and but DD hasn't submitted a new record. I think he's kind of waiting until he can get a better time so that he can, reclaim a really good title over Overswarm, who has taken the title here.
Still keeping on with that divergence here. Dragondarch did enter Windmill Cave, so he's going to get a nice plethora of items here. Meanwhile, Sho is up in the tower sequence here. He's checking the left side. Dragondarch finding our 6th Mimic now. I'm super happy about this.
Oh, and that's a pretty big find from Sho, the Orb of Thunder. The reason for that is it opens up Goa Fortress. And that was a particularly huge find in the last game that we had.
That's the right axe, man. So it's definitely a big thing for our runners to find. Speaking of big finds, Dragondarch finding the Sword of Fire in Windmill Cave. And Sho also finding the Alarm Flute. Now, we are getting an interesting back and forth of checks here in terms of what opens up what for routing. So, we've got eyeglasses found. We have the Alarm Flute, so we can check both of those locations now. And Sho just found the Bow of Truth, which is huge. That means that he's not going to have to go to the back of Crypt there. So, he knows that that's out of his mind. That's a huge just weight off the shoulders. That's always a great pickup to see. Dragondarch finding another Mimic. We're at 7.
However, we see Sho noping out of Evil Spirit Island before beating Sabera. And that's 2 items. So there's one item on Sabera herself, and there's another item on Clark, where you can't get the item until beating Sabera.
And that right there, he just found the Orb of Fire from Kensu. So we know that the sword is in Windmill Cave. Sho just Wild Warp back. He's going to get the Sword of Fire and then potentially have to double dip if that last bow is there.
So we may not see what we saw in the last game, simply because we know that if there's a big item that's locked by the Sword of Fire, the runners will have to go to both of these places. It won't be it won't be sort of a situation where if they skip this one or last location, it'll be a particularly bad deal for them.
That's very true. Still keeping up here with our different options. Dragondarch is checking the basement item here in the Village of the Amazons. Sho is talking to Zebu in the cave, so that way he can trigger the windmill's attendant to spawn. We did just find all 3 shields now. So Sho found the Mirror Shield and Dragondarch found the Sacred Shield. So all 3 shields have been found. So that is a good bit of information there. So we know that only the battle armor is left, I believe, in terms of equipment left in chests. And another interesting find, our wonderful friend guarding the windmill had the other ball. So there's the Thunder Bracelet for Sho. another great pickup. He's gonna have all the damage he wants come later. Looks like Dragondarch is making his way now over to Evil Spirit Island. He's gonna be pretty happy about that. Looks like Sho is heading into Fog Lamp Cave, which is, well, as we know, a super good play as well.
So on the scaling factor, which we see just to the right of the level there, Sho has 19 currently, to Dragondarch's 17. That goes up every time the runners get a unique item. It could either be a trade-in item, or an orb, or a sword, and it kind of gives you a very rough estimate of how many things they've checked. However, given these flags, we know that they really just need those bows. So it's not necessarily, how close they are to actually winning, but it's a pretty good check to see who's kind of gotten further so far.
And with Dragondarch making his way here over to Evil Spirit Island, he's gonna find exactly what he wants. I wonder if he's going to do. I wonder if he's actually going to do a Tink Sabera, or just do Charge Sabera with the Fire 1 there.
Oh, Fire 1 is for sure a much better plan than the Tink. Even at level 5, it's likely that at this scaling, you're still going to do more than 1 damage with your Fire Sword attack.
That is very true. Sho is going all the way in Fog Lamp Cave here. Super happy about that. It is a little bit of a time sink to get that last item, but it could definitely pay off. So, wonder what we're going to see there. Dragondarch picking up his orb now. Gonna be very happy with that.
We have a great discussion in chat with several really great speedrunners between Overswarm and Matrick talking about how we can improve the any % no wild warp run.
Is it by adding wild warp?
That's definitely one way. But the other way involves a lot of, including some strats from the task that might, one of the ways is including some strats from the task that may or may not be, possible to use. And, the task author just happens to be yours truly. So I'm quite, impressed with how much I've been able to see the speedrunners use strats from the task, but some of these strats, I don't know. It might be a little too much.
So it turns out the back of Fog Lamp Cave is Dio's pendant. So gonna get that MP recovery. Dragondarch didn't miss anything there. So that is kind of good for him. It's definitely a good thing. And he is going to go up and do that Sabera fight here. Going to move to the back, get the good stabs in. Level 5 and 21 scaling should just be, I'd say maybe, depending on the stab sequences he gets here, probably a minute and a half at most. I do know that he used one opal earlier, and I believe he did pick up the second opal. So that's
For
what they got.
Dragondarch, I doubt this run is going to be any. This fight is going to be any trouble.
Yeah, he is taking a little bit of damage here. He's going to use up his last medical herb there. Should be fine, though. It is worth noting that the runners do have the power ring. I actually missed that, since both of them now have entered Windmill Cave. That was the first item there that you got. Alright, and taking it down, getting rewarded with the Fruit of Power, so not what you want to see there. But there is the Clark Kent check that we're going to get right after that. So we'll see if he decides to yield us something important. And it is Teleport.
Wow.
So about that Saber North. Alright, so Sho now has his Sword of Fire. So with that ball that he's got, he's going to be able to go a lot more places here. I think DD... I'm pretty sure he got the ball too now, at this point. No, he doesn't have it. Okay. That's right, it was in Crystalis Plant Cave.
So with Teleport on Dragondarch's side, there's a really big difference that could come up if they see... Oh, and they do have Telepathy. So if Dragondarch decides to go to Mount Saber North with that Teleport and Telepathy, that could be a big deciding factor if that last bow is there.
Well, it is worth noting he doesn't have Bald yet. So he doesn't have his Orb of Fire. So that is something of note. DD here now heading up to Hydra. I do like this since he did leave the second item there. He's going to be able to clear all of that out now with the flight spell. Meanwhile, Sho finishing up Vampire here is going to be able to make his way around a couple locations. Gonna check the item there in the grass and then also probably head down to Amazon's to find the shield in the basement there. Thank you, Dragondarch, for finding us another Mimic. That's wonderful. We're at 8. We just need 4 more Mimics. We are 2/3 of the way there, Axe. Can you believe it? We're only 28 minutes in.
Wow. And Sho, hitting Bryn Mawr. Do we have we seen that Onyx statue? I don't think so.
Not yet, no. We've got the broken statue. We've got the key to prison, which at this point, I think Sho would have considered going in there and doing that. Looks like he's gonna go back down because he knows he's got that. He's got the orb and bracelet there. He's gonna probably check Oasis Cave and make his way to Pyramid.
So in short order, Dragondarch he's got to level 8, so he's at level parity with Sho, and he's also and he's got quite a bit of a pretty good war chest with of cash comparatively. So he's evened this up pretty fast on those accounts.
And there's a tornado bracelet. So that's a pretty big find there. And the Bow of Sun in its vanilla location.
that is a pretty amazing find, and that is very, very bad news for Sho, considering that he has, not completely orphaned, but somewhat cut off that check by checking that one chest in Mount Hydra. He's probably going to consider Mount Hydra a lower priority location after checking that other chest.
Okay, so he's there. He might go up for it. If he goes up for it, this is going to be go mode for him. DD is checking Crypt right now. This is actually super good, because yeah, he's got Moon, he's got Sun.
So statistically, we have to say the odds are pretty low that the Bow of Truth is in the back here right now, because we still have not checked any of Go Fortress. We haven't checked a few other places. So
well, they did check the top floor. They did check the top floor because that's where they got the Sword of Wind. We did check that out. We did clear out the Carmine fight. There is still a couple of options left in terms of large density checks. Does DD actually have Truth? Did we miss that pickup? He might actually be in go mode. Hold up.
He might be.
No, he's not. Why would he be? Because Sho definitely has it. We saw Sho pick it up. Like, DD shouldn't be checking this if he's in go mode. DD has Thunder Bracelet.
That's right. I think I saw Truth at some point, but
I'm just confused as to why he's checking for things then.
he might be less confident in what he's got at the end here.
He's got
He's
Power
not checking
Ring.
the last chest. Okay, he definitely has to have it now.
Yeah, he's got it. Okay, yeah, I'm not sure when DD picked that up then. So that Bow of Sun then was his go mode. Yeah, I mean, he's level 9, scaling of 26. Yeah, there's the bow. He's got Lag Storm. I mean, he's set. Like, you don't have barrier. You don't have healing. So you're just going in with what you got, which looks like 1 opal and I think 1 herb. And hi, Bert. Hi, Bert.
But shoot, you've got Lag Storm, you've got the Power Bracelet. What more do you need?
I mean, yeah, both these runners could confidently do that for sure. Dragondarch starting the Dragon 2 fight right now. Getting a really good pattern here out the gate. Getting it 1, getting it 2. I think he just barely finished his first there and started the second, and down goes Dragon. I blinked, so I missed the fight. Dragondarch's already in the tower here. Sho finding his bow, putting him into go mode.
And this is amazing. I would have not expected this to be such a close race, given that, Sho had so many other options besides that vanilla location.
Sho has definitely been putting in his time, practicing and getting ready for this. He's definitely stepped up from the last time that I raced him in terms of playing and checking. So he's definitely been putting in the time for sure. And it definitely shows. I mean, right now, like, look at this. It's honestly not that far apart between the go modes in terms of finding.
So even at level 9, with only 26 scaling and the Power Bracelet and Lag Storm, these robots just go down like butter.
That's definitely true, and Dragondarch has a ton of magic rings in his inventory, so he shouldn't have any issue with these floors whatsoever. It is worth noting, you say only 26, it's actually very low for level 9 scaling. Level 7 would actually make these a bit difficult, but our runners do have the power ring, so we are essentially adding on that extra 8 attack power there from the bracelet sword. Now, Max, remind me, what was the fastest race we've had so far in the Swiss?
Okay, so let me toot my own horn here. So far, the fastest win was by me. And the exact time was...
I like that you actually have this, like, factual data ready on hand. I wasn't expecting this.
So you've got to go to the speed. I don't have my exact time memorized here, but let's see. Okay, it was in my race against Tornell, and I actually finished at 34:51 was my SRL time. So Dragondarch is not quite there, but pretty close.
I kept thinking it was a 36, and he was gonna get really close to that.
Yeah. So in my race, I finished at 34:51, and Tornell finished at 38. But Dragondarch is pretty close.
Being pretty close,
with an official
for
time
sure.
Of 36:33.
All right, GG's to Dragondarch. So he just finished up, and Sho is now on the Dragon 2 fight here. We should have Dragondarch join us here, and he is right here. Dragondarch, congrats on the win. GG.
Thanks. That's the luckiest seat I've had in a long time.
So, take us through this. So, you get the power ring, you're going through Windmill Cave. Where were you at that point? Like, in your mind, where were you at? Did you feel pretty good with where you were at when you first entered the cave, or were you feeling a bit behind?
I honestly don't know. I just kind of felt, that just felt like the right play to do, but I didn't feel behind, I didn't feel ahead, I just felt like I was playing decent up to that point for the most part. Until a Mimic poisoned me, then I didn't feel like I was playing decent.
I will say this, you kept the scaling extremely low. You did get a lot of good checks out of the way in terms of density, as well as making a lot of good routing options.
I don't even know what to say about that seed. That was just... that was just like I lucked into everything. I would have liked Barrier, but that's about like the only other thing I really could have used.
Yeah, I feel like that's why there was just that small bit there at the end. You were just like, "Oh, I gotta do this the long way." But your tower execution was spot on. I mean, with the scaling and the level you were at in the early game, you actually barely killed anything and just did all the treks, and that was because you were just gonna catch up with the scaling XP curve. You had like no money. I think you ended up at like a scaling of 12, and then just started soaring up in levels. Sho at that point was like level 4 or 5, and you literally went from 1 to 5, I think, in a span of 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty normal for me. I usually won't even think about leveling a little bit until I'm at like scaling 8. At that point, you can get to 3 pretty quick when you're at 8, and then like 15 or 16 or so, you can get to 5. And I kind of base whether or not I'm going to kill things either on whether or not I need money, or if I'm looking to level, I just wait until the scaling catches up so I don't have to kill as much stuff.
Makes perfect sense there, trading off the early XP gain in cash versus what you need, and then picking it up in the middle game. That's definitely a great advice for anyone out there in the tournament, as well as anyone who wants to try the randomizer.
So we have an interesting question from chat. What were you looking for in the crypt, Dragondarch?
Either barrier or refresh, because I had like I think I had one medical herb, and I just wanted something to heal with in case something happened, or barrier would have been nice as well. But I figured that one check on the left side is relatively quick overall. And if it ended up being barrier, that makes a whole lot of things a lot easier. And if it gives me like refresh or even another medical orb, it gives me a little bit of safety in case something went really, really wrong in the tower.
So the time that Sho's going to finish here is pretty impressive for these flags, and that's really nothing to sneeze at. Despite how much he's, even losing by a few minutes here, this is a pretty good finish.
I actually believe this is one of his fastest times doing the randomizer with these flags. So it's definitely something that we'll have to ask him once the run's over. Alright, Sho did pop his opal here. He's just going to clean out the second turret here, using those iframes, make it super easy. Then he's just going to be able to take on Dinah here, finish it out very quickly. That was... We'll have Sho's time here in just a moment. And here we are. So Sho finishing up in second place with an official SRL time of 41 minutes and 37 seconds.
Dang, that's really good.
That's a really good time. I mean, for these flags, like both of these times are extremely respectable. Very, very fast runs. Looks like Sho will be in the booth here in just a moment for post-game interview. And here he is now, Sho. GG on the run.
Thank you, GG's.
First thing I gotta ask, because I know this was a very fast time. Was this the fastest time running those flags for you?
This is a new personal best on these flags.
Congrats, man. I thought this was a pretty fast one for you. I remember for a while, at least back when I was watching you and doing practices before our race, I think you were still at just over an hour, like I was.
Yeah, I was definitely averaging about an hour, and past few seeds I've been rolling have been really fast. Well, at least nothing was in the Angry Sea.
Just an ivory statue.
Was that what it was? Angry Sea?
Yep.
Oh. I tried to slow down, but I didn't see it.
If you actually miss it, you can just reset, and that room counts as a checkpoint.
Yes, it does. And that's actually something I was not aware of, so thanks for showing that off, Dragondarch. Another pro tech tip.
Nice. I'll have to remember that one.
I found that out just today. I guessed at it. I'm like, I missed what you said. I hope there's a checkpoint right here. Reset. Oh, good.
I think it's funny, a bow being in a bow location.
We've had our fair share of Carissa plant turn-ins actually be vanilla bow of moon. So it was really funny when you guys got there, and it's like, oh, look, it's the vanilla bow of... Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Close. She was trying.
Yeah.
So I have a question for both of you. Why did you decide to go back and do Mount Hydra?
Lots of checks.
Yeah, and I wasn't thinking about the fact that I had the ball of fire and I could go to the ice places. I just kind of forgot about it. I didn't realize till later that I had, or remember that I had the ball of fire, so that's why I went back to Mount Hydra, do all the checks there.
I mean, I didn't have ball of fire. I had wind and thunder, and that's all I had to work with. So I just popped back. It's like, well, there's 4 checks on Hydra. Let's go there.
Yeah.
That was actually super convenient for you that you did, and otherwise you'd be falling down that rabbit hole and going on still.
Yes, I'd be like, well, at least it's another full clear for me.
So there was a difference between the two of you in that Sho, early on, as soon as he had access with Flight, he went up and did the second chest on Mount Hydra, whereas Dragondarch just got the first chest and then went on to other stuff. So it was particularly interesting that Sho went up and kind of finished up those items.
I usually won't do the extra checks on Hydra unless I'm really desperate, unless I have wind. I'll do that first one because it's really quick and it's it's on the way. I mean, if you're coming from Shiren, it's on the way out to the field. If you're coming from the field, it's on the way to Shiren. If you're gonna head over to there, it's a really quick check, and I like to do that one on the way through. But I won't dip any farther in unless I've got wind or unless I'm just running out of checks.
I just did it for me. It's like, it's convenient. So, and I was hoping to maybe get lucky. Well, I am very tired. So,
Well, in that case, is there any other thoughts for you guys on the race here? Any other thoughts on the race?
Well, I'm just happy that I finished within like 5 minutes or so of Dragondarch. I'll take that as a win for me.
Hey, PBs are nothing to scoff at, man.
So, but GG
For sure. And we were just commenting that 41 minutes is a pretty impressive time for anyone at this seed, or at with these flag sets.
Yeah, like I've seen like people, I think, just get around the 30-35 minute mark, and so like I'm glad I'm within, I'm closing in on that gap. So I definitely look forward to the rest of the tournament and doing more. I heard stage 2 is a lot more fun and crazy and exciting.
That it is. There's a lot of good things to come, but we've got one more week of Swiss flags coming, and that is next week. So next week, which I believe is extended because of the holiday here. I think we're doing 2 weeks for next week's round of Swiss. We'll extend that a little bit longer, and I believe we'll be starting in the new year with the round 1 of brackets.
Awesome. Well, thank you, SpeedGaming, for hosting this tournament. Thank you, commentators, for hanging out and doing this match. And GG's again, Dragondarch.
Yeah, GG's to you too, man. Congrats on the PB.
Thank you.
And on that note, again, SpeedGaming, we greatly appreciate you hosting us, and please look forward to having more Crystalis Randomizer coming up in the next following weeks here. We don't have anything scheduled yet, as this was the final race of week 3, so the next set of pairings will be up and scheduled as soon as people become available for that. For myself, Axeman, and our runners here, we'll be signing off for the night, so do have a wonderful evening, and take care.